Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I am going to do something a little different. I am going to be doing a little mini spoiler review slash discussion of Disney's new live action remake, The Little Mermaid. As you guys could tell, I have the whole mermaid thing going on. Purple top, right? Scale, leggings. Look, the leggings even have a fin that comes with it. And of course, as you can see behind me, I have the painting of Ariel. You've probably seen it before in my other videos. This is a painting I had for a long time since I was a child. My uncle painted it for me. Little Mermaid is one of my all-time favorite Disney movies. If you grew up during the Disney Renaissance era, for me, my top three would be Little Mermaid, Hercules, and Pocahontas. So Little Mermaid is a big deal to me. So as you can tell, I had to do a discussion slash review of this new movie, especially with the amazing Halle Bailey in the role of Ariel. So as you can tell, I'm all, like I said already, I'm all mermaid-esque, right under the sea. But anyway, I'm gonna have a seat right now. So yeah, I saw the movie twice this weekend, and I loved it. I enjoyed it. It, it I waited this movie for 4 years. Ever since Halle Bailey, who is a Black American actress and singer, along with her sister Chloe Bailey, ever since they announced her casting, get this, back in July 3rd, 2019, so that was almost 4 years ago, I've been looking forward to this movie. The fact that Disney was willing to cast a woman of color in this role um, made me really excited. I know there's been a lot of hate geared toward this movie because of that. A lot of people arguing about forced inclusion, that it's woke, and you've probably seen the whole argument shebang going on, the past 4 years, right? Especially against the actress. Um, I'm just gonna say this right off the bat. I saw the movie 2 times. There really is nothing woke about it. Halle Bailey was born to be Ariel. When I saw the movie, she had the Ariel vibes. She does have the essence of Ariel. She's very ethereal, beautiful, such an innocent personality, curiosity, naive, pure. She a headstrong, a explorer, adventurous. She brought all those qualities in as Ariel. And when I've heard interviews of Rob Marshall, who's the director, and even other members on this project, such as Lin-Manuel Miranda, Alan Menken, who did the music and songs for this movie, and I believe the other guy who was a producer, John DeLuca, if I'm not mistaken. They've even mentioned that they've met girls of all different ethnicities, okay, not just women of color, all ethnicities around the world, to try to find the right actress who would capture the essence of Ariel, and it just so happened to be Halle Bailey. Here, let me turn more to this side so you guys could see Ariel. I don't know, wait, there we go. So yeah, so she was the one born for the role. They had her sing, they had her act a couple of scenes, and it was her. And watching this movie, I she was born to be Ariel. It didn't even bother me. It's one of those things like I like I said, I went 2 times, and in both occasions the movie theater was full. And we will talk a little bit down the road in this video about the box office because I know there's been concern regarding the box office. So we'll get to that in a little bit. But I went 2 times here at my local Cinemark, and it was full. And it was actually more fuller today, second time around on Monday, due to the American holiday Memorial Day, right? Today's Memorial Day in the United States. People are off, they're not in school, they're not at work. I know some schools get out early for the summer, so I was surprised how packed it was more on Monday than it was on Saturday. So something I've observed, right? But yeah, and the fact that it was so full and people were, laughing. I saw a family kind of cry towards the end of the movie. So, it was nice to see the little things. Like, it didn't bother them that, oh, like, why did they change Ariel and her skin color and all that stuff. No, they saw how it reminded them the nostalgia of the original cartoon Little Mermaid, and they liked the heartfelt moments of it. You know, whether it was the relationship of Ariel with Eric or Ariel with her father King Triton, all that stuff, and you know the comedy sea friends of Sebastian and Flounder and Scuttle, and also you know some of sassy moments from Ursula the Sea Witch. So overall, I enjoyed it. In my opinion, it is one of the better Disney live action movies because I know some Disney live action movies are hit or miss. I was not a fan of Lion King. A lot of people argue about the whole copy and paste thing, that there was nothing new so much about it. And I know a lot of people complain about the emotion of the animals, that they had no emotion, that they were expressionless. That part honestly didn't bother me, only because I figured you're going for a live action esque feel, so of course the animals are going to be like that. Like, you know, for me that was expected. But what I just didn't like about it is that when it came to the songs and whatnot, it fell flat for me. That's my opinion on Lion King. Mulan, I really did not like. It's one thing to change things here and there, but it's another thing to change everything completely. And of course, you know, hey, I could argue with the fact, you know, people are upset about how they changed Ariel's skin color in this movie, but I could also argue the fact that with Mulan, yes, they casted a Chinese actress who is very beautiful, by the way, but I did not feel like she was the Mulan that from. She did not carry the personality, in terms of personality, of Mulan from the 1998 animated film. I felt the actress was too wooden in that movie. And of course, I got to bring up the songs. The songs were not there, so it made the movie feel even more flat. Um, and yeah, it just didn't work. The so like Lion King was too much copy and paste, and then you have another extreme of Mulan, which was changing everything completely. I noticed that with these live action movies, they work better when they're more in the middle. Keep the core essence of the story the same, but make a few changes here and there to expand more on the story. Those are the ones that tend to be a bit more successful. Um, of course, like for example, Aladdin, that one was more in the middle. I enjoyed Aladdin. Um, I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan of the. I do enjoy it, but I'm not like it's not like my top animated film. But I do enjoy the animated Aladdin. But I found myself really enjoying the live action one. I really enjoyed it, and I will bring up Mina Masood a little bit later in this video as well, because a lot happened this month in May regarding the Little Mermaid. Um, but I really enjoyed the movie. I thought the new song "Speechless" from for Princess Jasmine was really good. I love Jungle Book, and it's funny because I think I like the live action Jungle Book more than the 1967 animated cartoon. I have yet to watch Peter Pan and Wendy, and we'll talk about Peter Pan and Wendy in a little bit as well, regarding about you know race bending and all that stuff. Um, I have yet to see it, but I heard some mixed reviews about it. I love Cinderella. I thought the one with Lily James was really good. And hey, in terms of race bending, let's not forget the one with Brandy Norwood and Whitney Houston. That one to me is my favorite Cinderella of all time. I love it more than the animated classic Cinderella from 1950. So yeah, that one kept the essence, the true story of Cinderella, where you know she's with her wicked step family, but she goes to a ball, falls in love with the prince, it's fairy godmother, yada yada yada. But the only thing different is new songs and a colorblind casting. Still, in my opinion, one of the best Cinderella movies out there. That's just me. But other than that, guys, yes, returning back to Little Mermaid, I do agree that this movie is one of the better live action Disney movies. I am aware that currently it holds like around the later 60% area, I believe like 67 or 68% on Rotten Tomatoes, so it managed to stay fresh. Unfortunately, it's not certified fresh. I am aware that some critics you know, it's funny with these live action movies, some critics are not all gun ho about these live action remakes because I think in what I've noticed is that you always have something to compare it to, something that's been around longer, right? And it you're gonna, when you watch the movie, you're gonna be you are it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. You are gonna be comparing it to the cartoon. What worked, what didn't work. Oh, because the cartoon was more in my mind, I know it line for line, scene for scene, frame for frame. You're gonna compare it. It's gonna be a given. So, you know, I'm pretty sure that I'm aware of that. Um, so it got a 67% on Rotten Tomatoes. Oh, fireworks are going on. So anyway, it's from Prince Eric's ship. Haha. Anyway, sorry, that was a terrible joke. But anyway, yeah, I got 67% on Rotten Tomatoes. But however, it also got like around a 95, 96% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. And now with Rotten Tomatoes audience scores, let me just say this: it's you gotta be cautious with audience scores on Rotten Tomatoes. At least here in the U.S., they are verified reviews, but I know in other parts of the world they're not. And we'll get to the review bombing that has been happening with Little Mermaid, and as to what has happened to other movies in the past in regards to review bombing. So there is, at least these are verified accounts. However, if you want to go with a more trusted source for audience scores, we have Cinema Score, which Little Mermaid in this case received an A, which I'm happy to hear. Um, it this is one of those cases where people it's complicated because a lot of I hear both sides of the story. Some people say, "Oh, don't trust critics, trust the audience score." But then if a reverse score happens, then people will say, "Oh, well, critics were right and the audience doesn't know what they want." It's one of those things where in some occasions critics and audiences will agree, and in some cases they won't agree. The best example I could give you is the Super Mario Brothers movie. I still to this day cannot believe that Super Mario Brothers got a 59% score, which is considered rotten on Rotten Tomatoes. I still can't believe that. I love the Super Mario Brothers movie. I had so much fun seeing that movie in theaters. I went 2 times. I would love to go see it again. To me, and that movie is amazing. I had so much fun with it, and it got a 96% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. But again, if you want to see a more verified source, it got an A plus cinema score. So it's one of those cases where the critics and audience did not agree, and I would have to side with the audience. I had so much fun with Super Mario Brothers, and in the case of The Little Mermaid, kind of same situation. At least critics were a little more mixed with Little Mermaid. They enjoyed it, they liked it, but they didn't love it. But the audience, from what I'm seeing with the scores, loved it. So, again, it's one of those things, right? I happen to enjoy both Super Mario Brothers and Little Mermaid. I had a blast. But then, of course, you have movies like Ant-Man where critics did not like it at all. And if you look at the Rotten Tomatoes score, it's very interesting because it has like around an 84% audience score. But again, if you want to look at a more verified score, Cinema Score gave it around a B minus, if I'm not mistaken. And I trust that score more only because of the results I saw with the box office. Had a big opening weekend for an Ant-Man film, but then it had a sharp decline throughout the weeks, and it didn't even make a large amount of money at its total box office at the end compared to the first two Ant-Man movies. So in terms of the cinema score, I trust that one more because the box office results show it. So yeah, again, it's one of those things where I always think of the words of John Campea. If you guys watch the John Campea show, great movie talk YouTuber, he says all films are subjective, and it's true. You may like it, you may not. It's understandable. Um, but at the end of the day, you do kind of see a certain statistic or pattern if a large majority of people, whether critics or audiences, like it or not, right? But anyway, enough with scores. I did enjoy The Little Mermaid. Of course, I will give some spoilers only because, like I said, there are some changes, not big changes, but minor changes from the animated film. But you guys know the basic story, right? A mermaid falls in love with a human prince. She can't be with him because her father, King Triton, won't let her. So she makes a deal with the sea witch so that she can have legs and meet the prince. And she has 3 days to do it, or else she'll belong to the sea witch. So yes, that is the essence of the story, right? However, I will say that there are some moments when I first saw it, there are some moments that how can I say it, that I liked from the animated film, but there are some moments that I like that they made in this one that I thought were improvements. So, for example, in terms of like say the opening scene when the movie opens up, I love the fact that in the live action they give you a quote from Hans Christian Andersen that a mermaid has no tears and for that she suffers more. I thought that was really interesting, and you do see that along later down in the movie with Ariel, especially when she does her Part of Your World reprise number 2, when she sees Eric going with Vanessa and she's on the rock all by herself and she's like crying her eyes out. And even at the end of the movie when she gives a hug to King Triton, because they end up parting ways because she chooses to be with Eric and she cries happy cry, she happy cries because her father finally understands her. So because now that she finally, you know, I wouldn't. She finally found her happy ending, if that makes sense, and she cries. She's not suffering anymore. If that makes any sense. She finally feels heard, and that's what she even tells her father. I'm finally heard. So she's not suffering. So it kind of reflects back to the quote that Hans Christian Andersen said: "A mermaid has no tears, so she suffers more." But because now she uh, is finally heard by her family, she now has the ability to cry, and not just in terms of sadness, but now in terms of happiness. So I thought that was really sweet. I like that they put that in the very beginning. The only thing that I will say in terms of the beginning intro, I do like the animated film a little more because I like how it starts with Phantoms Below, and then it transitions to the main title music from Little Mermaid. And in this one, the intro, I was like, again, I like how they showed the quote first, but then I thought the intro was kind of a little choppy, only because it shows Prince Eric with his crew. They don't sing Phantoms Below. Phantoms Below is a little later in the film when the storm happens. So there's no Phantoms Below in the beginning, and it doesn't have the the main title music. It kind of does, but just very brief. So that's just my thing. I like the intro from the animated film a little more than the live action one. The only thing that I like from the live action one is the intro of the quote from Hans Christian Andersen. That's it. But yeah, so there's that, and then what I also thought was kind of two missed opportunities was that in the cartoon, Prince Eric is the one that finds Ariel on the beach. In the live action, she's actually caught in a net by a fisherman, which I liked that idea that she gets caught in a net. That way it kind of saves her time from swimming all the way to shore. So that was cool. The only thing is, I kind of wish she was caught in Prince Eric's boat. Like Prince Eric and his crew would have been sailing, catching fish, and it would have been more interesting if his crew ended up catching her and Prince Eric is there and kind of helps her out. That would have been more interesting in my opinion instead of Prince Eric meeting her at the castle. But yeah, that's just me. I think that would have worked a little bit better. And another missed opportunity that I thought is of course the iconic, purple dress scene when she comes out of the water. That would have been cool. However, I do see why they changed it, and only because in the live action one, you could tell that a couple of days have passed since their fight with Ursula. In the animated one, it was like the very next day in the morning, King Triton turned Ariel into a human because he saw how Ariel was pining for Eric. Because Eric is still laying on the beach, right? He's all tired and unconscious on the beach. So you could tell it's like right after the fight with Ursula, bam, okay, King Triton decides to make Ariel into a human. But in the live action, you do get the sense that a couple of days have passed, considering the fact that King Triton tells Ariel, I'm glad you came to rescue me, blah, 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 but now you gotta come back home. And Ariel, again, going back to the whole quote of Hans Christian Andersen, you could kind of see her eyes are getting watery, but she can't shed tears because she's underwater and mermaid, right? So you could tell that she's longing for Prince Eric because so many days have passed. And even King Triton thinks that everything is fine until Sebastian breaks the news to him, like, no, not everything's fine. Your daughter is basically pining for Eric. She's heartbroken and all that stuff. So I like that they kind of did that. That so a couple of days have passed, and even Eric is pining for Ariel. He's on the stairs, sitting on the stairs, looking out into the ocean, pining for her. So I like how Eric is looking out into the ocean and Ariel's looking at the land, at the castle. They're both pining for each other. So it makes kind of sense, I guess, in a way, why they changed it, why they didn't have her come out of the water. Because so many, you could tell a couple of days have passed and Eric is not on the beach. You know, he wouldn't be on the beach for 2 days. That doesn't make sense. So obviously he's back home at the palace. Um, but yeah, it would have been cool though if to see if Eric was on the rocks near the beach and he's pining for Ariel, and then she came out of the water and he's all surprised. But anyway, even though that scene of her coming out of the water did not happen, the live action one does make up for it. When Prince Eric sees Ariel again, and you know he sees Ariel petting Max. Oh my gosh, it is so sweet when Prince Eric he runs up to hug Ariel, and it's like the sweetest hug I've ever seen in between any pairing in a movie, not just Disney movies, but just movies in general. He cradles her, he holds her, like you could tell he misses her. It was so sweet. It made up for it. Okay, I will say that it made up for the out of the water dress scene because in the cartoon it's more fluff. So this is one of the improvements or changes that they made in the live action that I really appreciated is Eric and Ariel's relationship. I really liked how more in depth but more connected they were, and you could just see that. Like again, the way Prince Eric when he reunites with Ariel, like how he hugs her, how he cradles her, like he doesn't want to ever let her go. Because in the cartoon, Eric is happy to see her, but it all he he lifts her up, very princessy Disney-esque style, which is cute, yes, but it's fluff. In this one, the live action, it just felt more real. He lost her, and he when he finally sees her again, he's just so happy. He cradles her, and it's the sweetest thing. I was like, oh my gosh, like my heart. Literally, this movie made Ariel and Eric my OTP. Jonah Hauer-King and Halle Bailey have the most amazing chemistry ever. Again, I've been waiting for this movie for 4 years. So when Halle Bailey was casted for Ariel back in 2019, July 3rd, 2019, I remember this, guys. I remember. I kept asking myself who would be Prince Eric? Who would be the Eric to Halle Bailey's Ariel? And I remember there were rumors that it was going to be Harry Styles, Gavin Leatherwood, even Cameron Cuff from the Triton series was in the running. There was a lot of potential actors. And I do remember seeing Jonah Hauer-King's name in the running, that he was auditioning for the role. And I thought to myself, at first I wasn't sure. I was kind of leaning more towards Gavin Leatherwood. At first I was gun-ho for Harry Styles, I'm not gonna lie, but then he turned down the role. I was like, ugh, okay, that's not happening. So I was kind of leaning more towards Gavin Leatherwood. But then I looked up more about Jonah Hauer-King, and I thought, you know what? He might be the guy. Because I researched more about him. I saw him in other stuff. He's in a lot of BBC shows or PBS mini series such as Little Women. He's in World on Fire, which is a popular show from the UK. He's also in A Dog's Way Home. So the more I looked him up or researched about him, I was like, you know what? I think Jonah Hauer-King would make a good Prince Eric. And sure enough, when November 11th, 2019 came around, so from July to November, like 4 months later, we finally got our Prince Eric, and it was Jonah Hauer-King. And I was super excited to see, I really wanted to see the chemistry between both Halle Bailey and Jonah Hauer-King. And if you guys have seen any like behind the scenes photos of them on Instagram or any other social media, because they are really good friends, they're like even best friends. They even admitted in interviews that they are best friends. You could see the chemistry. You could tell that that friendship that they have in real life is translated to screen. And even the director, Rob Marshall, he said in a lot of interviews that when they did the screen test together, he saw the chemistry right away, both on camera and off camera. And like, yeah, I could totally see it too. If you guys have even seen the interviews of those two promoting the movie, they have such amazing chemistry. And I know that both Halle and Jonah have their own personal relationships. I know that they're dating other people, but I'm just like, you guys would be so good together. Like, Oh my gosh, I know in real life they have their own private lives. I get that. And especially in certain situations for actors not to date their co-stars. I am aware of that. But they work so well. It's like, you guys are meant for each other. How do you not see it? But whatever. At least in this movie, they are so cute together. Ariel and Eric are they're my new OTP. In my opinion, they are the best live action Disney couple. I'm trying to think of. I mean, I thought the live action Aladdin and Jasmine were really cute together. I thought the live action Cinderella and Prince Charming, I think his name was Kit in that movie, they were really cute together. Um, yeah, they were really cute together. I'm not gonna lie. All the other ones were like okay. I didn't think the prince from Maleficent between Prince Philip and Aurora were all that exciting. Plus, they did change the actor from the first one to the second one, so I was like, like whatever. But this one, Jonah Hauer-King, Halle Bailey, Eric and Ariel, that best live action Disney couple for sure. And then I love the part where, not only my favorite part is when Eric hugs Ariel when they're reunited, but also when Eric is trying to guess her name, and she's showing him in the stars. And he's like, "Oh, is it Aries?" And she's like, "Oh," and he's like, "Oh." It's like Ariel. It's like, oh, Ariel. So that was really cute. Yeah, it was just adorable, and the whole kiss the girl scene, the chemistry between them, where she falls on him. I'm just like, I was fangirling, man. I was fangirling. I was squealing like a fangirl. I couldn't help myself. It was too cute. It was, oh my gosh. Jonah Hauer-King and Halle Bailey need to do more movies together. Heck, if they do a second movie sequel to Little Mermaid, Jonah and Halle better come back. That's all I'm saying. They don't recast. Do not recast. Those two need to come back. They're just so good together. Oh my god, I just love them. I'm sorry, I'm fangirling. It was too cute. It was too cute. Yeah, I love them. This, in my opinion, I think this Eric and Ariel in live action form are better than the animated form. Yes, I said it. It's because, again, and I think with all the animated classics, I mean, yes, they are classics. Don't get me wrong. The Disney animated films are classics. That's why a lot of people prefer the OG animated films than the live action ones. I get it. But the way the relationship was between Eric and Ariel in animated form was more fluff. It was just like, oh, like Ariel basically fell in love with Eric because he was handsome. Like literally when she sees him on the boat, she tells Scuttle, "Oh, he's very handsome, isn't he?" Right? That's why she fell in love with him. And then for Eric, he mostly was trying to look for the girl who had the beautiful voice, which Eric does in the live action one too. But when he sees Ariel and she's unable to talk, you know, there is like he doesn't really get to know about her. He only just finds her beautiful, and you know that when she's in that dinner scene with the pink dress, he's all like, "Wow, you look wonderful," and he's all like just looking at her. It's all about looks, right? Versus in this one, the live action one, I like what they did here because Ariel, she first when she first comes in contact with Eric, or first finds out about him on the ship before the storm, she first hears his voice. She doesn't see his face yet. She first hears his voice, and she hears Eric talking to Grimsby about how he has so many responsibilities, how he has to follow all these rules, and he doesn't feel free. And when she hears him, she kind of, you can see it in her eyes. She feels something for him. And then she finally sees his face. And it's like, wow. And she's like, wow, this guy's like the full package, right? But then she gets to see more of Eric during the storm when he is brave and rescues his crew members and tries to drive the ship and rescues his dog Max. She sees his bravery, his courage, and that's what is the personality more than the looks that attracts for Ariel. And I like that in terms of the statue that Ariel keeps in her grotto. Um, in the animated one, it's all about the looks again, right? She's like, it looks just like him. He even has his eyes. Like, oh, why, Eric, run away with you? This is all so sudden, right? It's all about the looks because she finds him very handsome, right? And when King Triton destroys the statue, she's left with only the face. But in the live action one, when King Triton destroys the statue, and the statue's not supposed to be Prince Eric, it's just some random statue of a, you know, just a really attractive guy, right? But I guess it helps her remind her of Prince Eric, right? It's not the face that she picks up, it's his hand. And I like that symbolism of the hand because, for one, when she's singing to him on the beach, when she rescues him, he grabs her hand with his hand. So there's again that connection. And also more in terms of how they connect with each other, that he wants adventure and wants to explore, she wants adventure and wants to explore as well. So it's more about a deeper connection. So it's not so much about looks. Again, it's more about how they connect it with each other. And I thought that was really cute. Like it. Oh my god, my OTP guys, my OTP. So it was really sweet, and there's just a lot of improvements I thought with the whole Eric and Ariel relationship in the live action. Even when Ariel turned back into the mermaid when the sun set, in the animated form, Eric is just kind of looking at Ariel like, oh my gosh, like what the heck happened, right? And he kind of just lets Ursula take her because he's in shock. But in the live action one, he still holds on to Ariel, like he just will not let her go. And he even tries to stop Ursula from taking her. So you could just see that there's just more of a deeper bond between Eric and Ariel. It was so sweet, and I love the library scene when they're learning from all the maps and about world traveling, and she tries to show him about how to blow into the seashell and the jewel in the rock. Oh, the every scene with them was just perfect. It was perfect. Halle Bailey, Jonah Hauer-King. I waited 4 years to see you guys on screen. I'm so glad you guys are best friends in real life. I hope you guys continue to be best friends. Hopefully, we'll get to see you guys in more projects. That would be exciting. But congrats on doing your roles as Ariel and Eric. You guys were amazing. I also, now aside from that, I also really like the songs in this movie. I even like the new songs. I've heard some people were kind of divisive on the new songs. I really liked it. I liked Jonah Hauer-King's for singing "Wild Uncharted Waters." Yes, it did kind of remind me. I've seen some memes that it reminded of "Bet on It" from Troy Bolton in High School Musical. I could totally see that. I do agree with that. But I really enjoyed the song. I thought it was really good. I liked Halle Bailey's Ariel when she sings "First Time" because it's her first time in the human world. I like how it shows her singing in her mind, and then when everything's in black, she's singing, and then towards the end of the song, she is about to talk to Eric, but she can't because she realized she gave up her voice. So it was like, man, that hit hard. Scuttlebutt, I not my favorite song, but it's not as bad as people say it is. I actually found it kind of funny. Um, but it's not like my top favorite song. But I did enjoy it. If I had to say what were like in terms of the song order, what were my favorite songs? It the number one would have to be "Part of Your World" for sure. That's why Halle Bailey was picked for this role. Her voice is so amazing. It's so ethereal. It I've heard a lot of people say how it made them cry, and even Rob Marshall, when he had Halle Bailey audition for the first time, that he cried. And bruh, I actually cried in the theater. I was tearing up, and I've heard this song a million times, so it's like it's nothing new. I know it from heart, up where they walk, up where they run, up where they stay all day in the sun. Wish I could be part of that world, right? So I know the song, I know it, but I think what makes this song work with Halle Bailey's voice, again, this is why she was picked, not because of her skin color, not because of trying to be diversity, forced inclusion. No, not trying to be woke. No, she had the essence and the voice. Her voice is just, it's so pure. And again, I've heard the song millions of times. With the Jodie Benson, who plays Ariel in the animated 1989 classic, which, by the way, Jodie Benson is a star. She's a star because of, she gave life to Ariel back in 1989. You know, I like this. Of course, I love the song "Part of Your World," but I feel like in the 1989 animated film, it feels more like, yeah, you feel her desire to go to the above world, but it has more of a sing along vibe to it. If that makes any sense. Versus with Halle Bailey, her voice, it's more longing. She, you could feel the pain in her voice, which again goes back to the quote from Hans Christian Andersen: "Memory has no tears, which is why she suffers more." When she says like above, that final note, she's like above, and she's like stretching her hand out. You hear her like kind of like gasp, right? Because it's her she's expressing her sadness, and you feel it. And even when she says like, "Bet you on land they understand, right, but they don't reprimand their daughters," you feel it. Oh my god. And I kid you not, I was crying, I was in tears. I had a feeling I was gonna cry, only because I've heard from other people that they cried when they heard her sing "Part of Your World," but I didn't expect how much I was gonna cry. And I've seen some other people in the theater cry too. So it was, her voice is powerful. Yeah, it's something. And I really liked her "Part of Your World" reprise. I loved when um, she sings to Eric, and I like that Eric touches her hand. Oh, and I do also like how she sang "Part of Your World" reprise number 2, because she's brokenhearted. Yeah, that was painful. You feel the pain when she sings. You feel the emotion in her voice. You do feel it. Um, so yeah, that "Part of Your World," when she sings it, oh my gosh, it was amazing. It was something else. Me just thinking about it makes me want to cry, because again, I grew up with this movie for so many years, and to see a woman who is, because Ariel, as you guys could tell, right in the back of me, she is one of my favorite Disney princesses. Um, and of course, I've had that experience of like, oh, like you can't be Ariel because you're black and not white and blah blah blah. But now, it I this shows that now any girl, doesn't matter what your background ethnicity is, you could be white, black, brown, yellow, red, blue, purple, green. I don't care. You could be in the middle, in between. Anyone could be Ariel. Um, so the nostalgia, the beautiful voice from Halle Bailey, see a woman of color who, is a couple of shades like me. It did make me feel like, wow, like this is amazing that Disney gave her this opportunity for this role. Um, and I will get into the whole thing about race bending and all that stuff. And how I know for some people don't like it. They see it as an issue. But I I was like in awe with her song "Part of Your World." It just made me cry. Like, wow, like this girl is amazing. She sang that song like 1,000 out of 10. Man, that was something. So "Part of Your World" would have to be my number one favorite on the soundtrack for sure. I really like the whole Under the Sea sequence as well. That would probably be my number 2. I heard some people were divisive on Under the Sea only because of the CGI, which I will admit, I think that is one of the flaws of the movie is the CGI. There are some parts where it looks a little, but when I saw it the second time around, it didn't bother me as much, which is weird. Maybe because I kind of already knew what to expect, and I was like, oh, like okay, it doesn't look that bad now the second time. So, but there were some parts, mostly in the beginning of the movie, the CGI looked a little iffy. But I thought, in my opinion, with Under the Sea, the CGI looked fascinating. It looked beautiful to me. I loved how they showed all the sea creatures, and I love that Ariel got to sing with Sebastian under the sea, because you want, because in the animated film Ariel only has one song, and she's supposed to be the one with the most beautiful voice, right? But they only have her sing one song, and that song, fun fact, was about to be cut out from the animated movie, but Thank goodness Howard Ashman fought for that song to be in the movie. Thank you. So yes, thank goodness it's in the movie. But I like that they had Ariel sing more in this. And I like that she got to sing with Sebastian. That was sweet. It worked well. And the way Ariel, again, with her ethereal essence, as she's exploring the underwater beauty of it, right, under the sea, it was so cool. She's swimming on this giant rainbow squid, and she's swimming with the jellyfish, and she's swimming with the dolphins. It was just so cool to see. I loved it. I love the sequence of Under the Sea. So that would probably be my number two. Um, my third favorite would probably be Kiss the Girl again. I thought it was really cute how Scuttle, Sebastian, and they even had Flounder sing a little bit. Little Jacob Tremblay, right? And well, he's not little no more, but yeah, I thought that was kind of cute that they. It was cute. It was just really cute how they had them sing. And again, come on, the chemistry between Jonah, Hauer-King, and Halle Bailey. Yeah, I mean, that was really cute. So I would probably put that as my number three. My number four, what would be my number four song? My number four would probably be Part of Your World reprise number two, because it was just so, again, you felt her pain. It was so heartbreaking that she was so upset that Eric chose Vanessa, right? My number five would probably be Wild Uncharted Waters. I really liked how Prince Eric got to express his longing, him trying to look for his mystery girl, right? And yes, like I said, it did give me some Troy Bolton vibes from High School Musical too. But I thought Jonah did a really good job. He did a really good job in that song. My sixth favorite would probably be Poor Unfortunate Souls, of course. I mean, come on, it's a classic villain song. But yeah, I put it as a number six, maybe because um, I just like the other ones more. I'm sorry, but yeah, I probably put that as number six. My number seven would probably be Part of Your World reprise when Ariel saves Eric. What else? Then for the first time maybe would be next. Um, and then oh my gosh, am I missing anything else? Then after that, probably Scuttlebutt, and then Phantoms Below would be last. Cause Phantoms Below was like a whatever. Besides, all the sailors were kind of drunk anyways. But yeah, that's my list off the top of my head so far. But for sure, my number one would be Part of Your World. Dude, it made me cry. I mean, I gotta put that as number one. But yeah, so yeah, that's those are my thoughts on Little Mermaid. I loved it. I enjoyed it. I'm glad. From what I've been seeing, I mean, critics were kind of mid on it because they have something to compare it to, which is the animated film. Which the animated film is great. It's what started the Disney Renaissance, right? But I do like that this movie paid. For me, I felt like this movie paid respects to it. And again, I saw it two times in theaters, and the audience, I could tell the audience loved it. They loved it. It again, this is not a Lion King. This is not a Mulan where the live actions kind of fell a little flat. This, in my opinion, is more like a Jungle Book, an Aladdin, Cinderella, even Cruella. I like the live action Cruella. That one was good. Um, it's more of a reboot kind of thing, but that one was good. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I had fun. Yeah. Again, probably the only one flaw would probably be like some scenes of CGI where it looked a little, but there were some scenes that I thought worked, and like Under the Sea, I thought the effects there looked really nice. Um, and from what I've been hearing from reports, this movie opened to. Uh, oh wait, before I talk about box office, I did want to say about the other cast members. I thought Aquafina as Scuttle was really funny. W. Diggs as Sebastian, he was hilarious. I love the comedic duo between Sebastian and Scuttle. Jacob Tremblay as Flounder was cute, and I know some people were really iffy on the animals. They did not like how they look. I actually did not have a problem with it. I thought they looked fine. To me, I'm like with Flounder and Sebastian, I'm like, well, that's how a fish looks in real life, and that's how a crab looks in real life. So for me, it didn't bother me. I was just kind of like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I would expect for them to look like that because that is what they look like in real life. And I thought that they were a little more expressive in this one than in Lion King. So it's funny because people, it, it's funny how people, I guess it's just one of those things where you can't please anybody because either they're too cartoony looking or they're not expressive enough. Lion King got criticized for not being expressive enough. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, sorry guys. Too many, I don't know what's going on with these fireworks. Sorry. Sorry guys. Sorry. Just ignore that for a little bit. Sorry. But yeah. Anyway, okay. Anyway, side note, sorry about that. But anyway, going back to the animals, yeah, I thought they looked fine in this. I thought, besides, I think also it came in terms of to their voice performance. I thought the actors did really well in being able to portray and, you know, put jokes and be the comedy trio that they're supposed to be. So in terms of the actors providing the voice to bring life to these CGI animals, worked well. So at the end, it didn't really bother me. Um, and then of course Scuttle, it's not a seagull. She's like a gannet or something like that, which is a type of bird that does go underwater, and it could be underwater for a certain period, like a certain extent of time. So I thought that was a nice little change there. What else? Melissa McCarthy as Ursula. I thought she nailed it. She did a good job. I did hear from some people that they kind of wish there was more in Ursula's backstory, which I would have liked to see also because in the movie she does say to King Triton that he is her big brother. So it turns out King Triton and Ursula are brother and sister. So Ursula is the auntie of Ariel. But I would have liked to see a little more of that backstory. I mean, like you bring up the plot point, so why not explore it, right? But oh well. But I thought Ursula did a really good. Melissa McCarthy as Ursula, she did a really good job. She had all the mannerisms and everything, and even the way she moved. Because in the animated film, she's like all like this, right? And how she like slides in her little like throne room, whatever, in her lair, and she did a really good job. And when she sang "Poor Unfortunate Souls," the visuals in that scene were amazing with all the fire explosives, and it was scary. I'm not gonna kid you. Ursula's lair in this movie was more scary than the animated film because her like creepy garden came to life and even attacked Ariel at one point. Ariel's like swimming on her way to go visit Ursula, and literally like they like get a hold of Ariel. In the animated film, they only grab Ariel by the wrist, and Ariel's like, oh, like snap. But in the live action, not only do they grab her by the wrist, but they grab her by the neck, by the tail. It's like, oh my gosh, that was just freaky. So yeah, that was weird. So that was I liked the scene with her layer was really scary. What else? Javier Bardem as King Triton, I thought he was okay. He wasn't like my favorite, I guess you could say. It was like, oh, okay, like, cool, King Triton, right? Like, whatever. It was like, okay, cool. But I will say this, I think the scene with him at the end hugging Ariel was really sweet. And I will say this, again, I'm gonna bring up John Campion again. He said something interesting, like, because someone argued that the King Triton and Ariel in this movie felt a little like more um like king and subject type of relationship than father and daughter, which kind of in a sense I could see that, but it was interesting to see how it worked in a sense that because he's like, you're like I'm the king, you're my daughter, so you're like the subject, you gotta listen to me. And it was until the end when Ariel finally sees King Triton embracing Ariel's idea about two worlds joining together that um and she finally tells him, oh, like I'm glad that you finally heard me, that you listened to me. Then it felt more heartfelt, like he finally listened to her, right? He wasn't like just a stoic type of king. He finally showed emotion, and when he gave his daughter his hug, that was really sweet. And I do see the similarities between Ariel's father, King Triton, and Eric's mother, Queen Selina. Which, FYI, Eric is adopted in this story, which is why he has a black mother. How Ariel's father and Eric's mother do not let them go off on adventures because they're so concerned about their safety. King Triton sees the human world as dangerous, and Queen Selina sees the under under the sea gods as dangerous. So very interesting parallels. And I even remember Rob Marshall said that the relationship between Ariel and Eric is like Romeo and Juliet. The Montagues versus the Capulets, and you could kind of see that King Triton's against humans, and Queen Selina is skeptical about the ocean. So yeah, that was really interesting. So yeah, I thought the addition of Queen Selina was really nice because it worked out for Eric's story, you know. So yeah, and Grimsby was cool. I thought Lashana, so instead of Charlotte, is Lashana in this. She was cool. Max was there, the little doggy. So yeah, it was all cool. So again, all the performances were all really done well in this movie. Um, so yeah, now with terms of box office, um, it made, if I'm not mistaken, over the 3 day weekend, it made like around $95, $95, 95 million. So congrats to Little Mermaid for making 95 million domestically, and then 118 over the Memorial weekend. So that includes Monday, and of course it has to be included because it is a holiday. It's all, whenever Monday is off, box office analysis statistics, they always include it because people are off work, people are off school. And like I said, I went today, Monday, to see it a second time, and let me tell you, the theater was packed. So yes, that's how it made its money. Um, so I'm glad that it is doing well domestically. I am aware, though, however, overseas it may be struggling a bit, which, you know, it it does kind of break my heart a little bit, only because I've heard from like from the trades, like Hollywood Reporter, Deadline, Variety, um, how there's review bombing going on with The Little Mermaid um, across the globe. Um, you would think in 2023 to see a lead actor or actress um, who's a person of color, the fact that such things still happen in terms of racism, um, still there. It's still there. Um, and I know I've heard the argument so many times, right? Go woke, or if you go woke, you go broke. Forced inclusion. Again, this movie did not have that. Did not have that. Never brought up anybody's skin color in this movie. It never brought up about being diverse. It never brought up those words. Never did. So it is. I hope a lot of people were hoping for this movie to do $1 billion. And you know what? That would be nice. I'm not gonna lie. That would be nice if it did. But I think it's one of those things where you gotta accept fact. You gotta accept reality. If it doesn't, it doesn't, right? I'm just really proud for Halle Bailey. She went into the lion's den with grace, and she did a wonderful job. So I mean, I don't know. I hope this movie holds up well. I always say this: you could have a big opening, but what is really gonna show how strong this movie is in terms of legs. Haha, right? Flipping your fins, you don't get too far. Legs are required for dancing and jumping. Oh my gosh, I'm jumbling up my words, but you get what I mean, right? Um, will this movie have legs? And I hope so, only because from what I'm hearing in terms of the audience, a lot of positive word of mouth. A lot of positive word of mouth. I've been seeing it on a lot of social media. Um, Again, critics is one thing, but then you also have the side of the audience. And I could again bring it up with Super Mario Brothers. Critics were mixed on it, but the audience gave it positive word of mouth, and that's why people went to the theater to go see it. Ant-Man 3 Quantumania did not have positive word of mouth with not only critics but also audience. And that's why it had a big opening weekend for an Ant-Man film, but then you saw that sharp decline in terms of its box office. Mario did not. So I'm hoping with Little Mermaid, I am seeing positive word of mouth. I hope it has the legs to carry this movie. Um, and again, it. I hope the movie does break even. Um, I really do. It doesn't need to make $1 billion. It would be nice if it did. All I hope is that it just breaks even and Halle gets her flowers, right? That's all I hope for. Um, Trying to be positive here. It's just one of those things where it kind of reminds me of the whole situation that happened with Captain Marvel. At least Captain Marvel made $1 billion, but even then, like you think with that movie came out 4 years ago, and even with the sequel that's coming out later this year, I'm not like too stoked about it. I wasn't a huge fan of the Captain Marvel movie, but the hate that surrounds, that movie, especially towards the actress Brie Larson, man, it's pretty brutal. It's brutal, and I think when people target certain actors and actresses in movies for, you know, featuring a different type of, whether featuring more of a female-led role than a male-led role, or featuring more someone of a different ethnicity than the majority ethnicity that people are used to seeing. Uh, it is it is kind of sad. Like, I just want to see if the movie is good or not, if I will enjoy it or not. If I don't enjoy it, fine, just move on. But there's no need to put so much hate on something, right? If you didn't enjoy it, just move on. I did not enjoy Captain Marvel, but I just left it at that. There was no need to like review bomb and make it so hectic that people were just making these videos of, with her, I'm pretty sure you guys seen it on YouTube, of photo editing her picture and all of that stuff. It's like, it's not necessary. Like, no one has to go through that. Like, in a sense, that is kind of like cyberbullying, because like, why are you altering that person's face and making them express it like that? Like, there's no need. There is no need. Um, if you didn't like the movie, you didn't like the movie. And I know some people who, if you didn't like Little Mermaid or any of the other live action Disney movies, then you didn't like it. It's fine. If it wasn't for you, it wasn't for you. All film is subjective. There's no need to review bomb because, and we all know why they're doing it, because of Halle Bailey's skin color. But I hope that this movie does have legs. Um, we'll just have to see what happens in the next coming of weeks, which I I could see it having to have legs, only because I do feel like this will have positive word of mouth. Again, I went to the movies twice to see this, and and people clapped at the very end. They were super happy with it. I'm seeing on social media people are spreading the word how much they enjoyed it. So I'm hoping positive word of mouth does help this movie. Um, I mean, the only thing is that June is going to be a crowded month with the movies, which I fear might affect those movies as well. I mean, you have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse coming out the first weekend of June. Then you have the Transformers movie. Then you have The Flash and Elemental coming out the same weekend, which I still to this day don't understand why they planned it like that. That to me was the worst planning that they could do, is put Flash and Elemental in the same weekend. That's just not good. Um, and then you have Indiana Jones at the very end of the month, and that one's getting mixed reviews. So let's see how that one does. But yeah, June's gonna be kind of hectic. Um, so let's see. At least again with Little Mermaid, at least it had a great opening here domestically. Worldwide, it's kind of flowing there, I guess you could say. But I wish the best for Halle Bailey and the rest of the cast and crew. Thank you for making this movie. I enjoyed it a lot. Again, if you didn't like it, you didn't like it. I happen to like it. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I do think this is one of the better live action Disney films. Um, so yeah, that's all I could say. I just hope for the best. I want these movies to succeed. Of course I do. I want Spider-Man to Across the Spider-Verse to succeed. I want, um, you know, you want to see these movies succeed because, they put all their hard work into it. And I know with like the upcoming movie Flash, there's a lot of controversy surrounding that. Um, so we'll see. I want Elemental to do well. It looks really interesting. I know that one's getting mixed reviews as well. So this is like crazy stuff happening right now. Um, but yeah, we'll see. I didn't expect this video to take an hour long. But yeah, it actually did. So yeah, guys. So let me know down in the comments below what you thought, and please, no hate. Let's keep this respectful, please. Let's be respectful down in the comments. Um, Let me know down in the comments below if you guys have already seen The Little Mermaid, and if you have, tell me what you thought about it. Be respectful. Also, what is your favorite animated Disney film, and what is your favorite live action Disney film? So yeah, just let me know down in the comments below if I have missed anything. I hope I didn't. I hope I covered as much as I could. But yeah, let's hope for the best here for all these movies. Not just Little Mermaid, but for all the movies. Little Mermaid, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Flash, Elemental, Transformers I don't care about, sorry. But yeah, let's see how well these movies do. But anyway, guys, thank you guys for hearing me out. Like and subscribe, and as always, take care, guys. Bye!